Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to talk about commercial property risk. Why commercial property risk is for you to understand before you invest into commercial property. If you want to know, then stick around. Alright, commercial property risk. Like any investment, there is some risk element, right? For example, whether you invest into market or whether you invest into residential real estate or crypto, any form of investment, there is a risk. But let's understand commercial property risk. The number one risk in commercial property is what we call vacancy risk, right? You buy the property and the property remains vacant for a longer period of time. And to mitigate this risk is that you understand how the market works, and particularly wherever you are buying this property, what's happening in there. Now, before we come to the vacancy risk, let me talk about the education part, because if you do not know about commercial property, that's the biggest risk for you. So the first thing is that you have to know, you have to learn about commercial property, what is happening, different market, and particularly where you will be buying, at what price point that you will be eligible to buy. So there is a lot of the things about the educations, because if you are not aware, if you are not educated about commercial property, that's the biggest risk. If you think that you can give it to somebody and that person is going to make you millionaire and you're just going to not knowing anything, that's a very bad way of investing. In fact, that is going to make you poor. In fact, that is where you will be taking a huge risk. So to mitigate this risk is that education. Learn something about commercial property, ask people who have been investing into commercial property, and that's the way you will be mitigating the risk. Once you know these things, then you will be able to realize that, okay, number one risk in commercial property is the vacancy. And to mitigate that, we need to understand the market in that particular place where you are investing. So let me give you a concrete example. Let's say if you buy a property which is tenanted for the next 3 years. That means the lease is already in place, there is a business, there is a tenant, and they have already committed for the next 3 years. What basically means almost 80 to 90% certain for the next 3 years you are going to collect rent. The property will remain tenanted. Now in these 3 years, what you do so that the property do not come to vacancy? It could be depends on how you build the relationship with the tenant. It could be tough to find out how the tenant is making money. It could be to understand the market in that area, so that in the event tenant moves out, then you'll be able to find that tenant quickly. So all these things matters, and if you do these things in a systematic way, then you realize that even the property comes to vacant and it is going to be tenanted quickly. The reverse is also true. For example, you just bought the property and you don't want to learn anything and you just give it to a property manager, do not even care, you don't know whether tenant is making money or not, you don't know about the market, and there comes after 3 years when the property comes to vacant, if at all it comes in, then you don't know what to do, and that's the more risky part. So it's not only about just buying, it's also about managing the property manager and ensuring that you are doing things to learn more and to take the decisions which is moving you forward, and particularly that vacancy risk will be very negligible for you. Now let me give you one thing which is going to help you to understand. If you buy a commercial property, there is a chance that the property will come 3 months vacancy, 6 months vacancy. If you buy really bad market, it could come, even 9 months vacancy. And you have to make an appropriate plan, make sure that you keep that money in the buffer so that you can, sustain it or not. But what is more important is that not buying is going to make you 100% vacancy. What does it mean? It means like if you do not buy a commercial property, then your commercial property will be vacant forever. And that's the part of risk we need to understand. Not buying is way riskier than buying. Like if you buy a property and the property remains vacant for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, that's a part of risk. That is a fraction of if you do not buy it at all. Because if you don't buy, there is no chance of collecting money. If you do not collect money, there is no chance of becoming financially independent. If there is no chance, then you are taking a huge risk, which sooner or later you will retire and you will have less money and you will have a situations where you have to live on government pension. And that is one of the key understanding I want to think. Not investing or not buying commercial property is way riskier than buying commercial property. Let that sink in for a moment, because most people think think that, oh, if I do these things then I will make mistake. Of course, there is no rocket science. It's not like you would not buy and then you will become like in a better position. No one has ever done this in the world. Think about that. No one has ever become financial independent by not investing. People become financial independent because they invested. Yes, they made mistake. You might make mistakes. You have to reduce those mistakes, but not investing is way riskier. That's the number one mistake that you will be doing by not investing. And that is the key part of this video. Is you have to take the calculated bet. You have to take that risk. You have to make sure that you buy, because as soon as you buy, as soon as you invest, as soon as you start making money, that the risk reduces drastically versus somebody who is not doing it. Somebody who is thinking that, oh, it is too risky, and they end up becoming more riskier, rather that they end up becoming on the like the bottom line, whereas you are going up by investing into it. I hope this gives you a clarity about why investing in important and why you can mitigate the risk by just investing it. And if you like this video, please subscribe this channel, turn the notification bell on so you get to see more videos like this, and it also help us to reach out to more people like you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.